Welcome to another episode of The Making of Champions Season 5. Man, we've had so many great guests on the show. So it was important for me to bring this young man in here who has a voice of reason, a voice of what some people call chaos in some cases, but yet this man right here brings it to you raw and real. This man, he may not realize how much I've been watching him. But I remember when he was at University of Alabama under the Harvey Grants, working with that program, and where he's gone from that point on, moving up, making trailways, becoming head coaches, and then also being assistant coaches. And now he is there at Georgia State University. Please welcome Coach Lamont Johnson. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate the intro, man. Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Man, I watch you. You are a coach with a lot of energy, and sometimes that can rub some people the wrong way, and other people it excites them so much to think. What makes you so unique to be who you are, and let that translate into your coaching residence?
You just said it. I've never wavered from who I've been. If you understood my past, you will understand where I'm at presently. The energy that I give to the young men when I was coaching men and now I'm coaching strictly women, it's contagious. Once they see that you care, they see that you're pouring your all into it and you're pouring everything into them, just like they're pouring themselves into you, you're going to get the absolute best out of them. Some may take a little longer than others, but, overall, they all come around. So, me just being authentically me and me just being the lover of the sport. I am a savant of this sport. I always feel that if you're going to be a part of something, you got to know what you're a part of. So I am some people call me a walking encyclopedia because I can remember things from times before I was even born up until present time. So, I just love what I do. I love the profession. In order for me to be my absolute best, I have to learn from the best and study the best and bring it all to the present time. So that's where I'm at with that.
I know you are a integral part of your own podcast in itself. And you always have a segment on there that says, "Don't debate me." And, which is unique because it's debatable stuff, but not debatable stuff.
Right.
And I think most people don't understand the concept. So can you kind of break down the concept of the "don't debate me"?
The whole concept behind the "don't debate me" is to start debate because okay. Contrary to what people believe, I don't do much. I am a homebody. I go to work, handle my business, do what my head coach says, or do what my admin said when I was a head coach, and I go home. The most you'll probably see of me, I'm out and about, probably buying a whole bunch of sneakers that I don't need to buy, but because I'm an avid sneakerhead. But the whole part of the "don't debate me" is that I want to get people's views on certain topics. And the funny thing is, everybody know I can trigger people so easily. And it's funny because I do it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Just to get the conversation going. And then finally people start to realize, yo, look, man, Lamont just doing that just to get people's point of view. He's triggering y'all on purpose. He's sitting back laughing like Coach Holloway would do that every time I put that up, I get a phone call not even 45 minutes later. Son, why are you messing with people right now? Saying, man, coach, look, man, I'm bored and I just want to see what people think. But some of the things, some of the things I bring up, like who's the greatest American sprinter, we could say Evelyn Ashford. Some would say Marion Jones. Just put the other stuff to the side. People would say her, people would say Allison Felix. Okay, give me the whys. Why do you think? Stand on your argument, stand on your position, strengthen your argument, and put your point on paper or on virtual paper. And let's see if it can stand up. And that's all it is. Like, look, and that pandemic gave us a lot of time to think. It gave us a lot of time to create different avenues for ourselves to reach out to other coaches and help other coaches and, do things like what you're doing, what Stamps, Kyle, and myself has done with me Ray Edwards and Eugene Frazier, what we do on Mondays, it gives us the opportunity to open the floor and have these kind of dialogues and set the world ablaze, because track and field don't have these type of voices. And now we have that with Athletic LLC and, your podcast and, whoever else does pod chat. Track Dad, Texas Track Dad, he has one that I follow. You got City is Mad, we do all these little things, and we just want to bring some excitement to it, and that's where the Don't Debate Me really, really stemmed from. I just want to bring that on my Facebook page onto the show, and that's where we go from there, man.
Well, you're a graduate of Iowa State University, ran track there. How was that the recruitment process of going there, and then how did you grow from there to say, okay, I want to become a coach?
Okay, the recruiting process. All right, so I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. I ran for Long Beach City College in Long Beach, California. We was one of the most dominant junior colleges in all of California, not just California, but in the country. We was able to compete and run against anybody. I was blessed enough to have teammates who are now some of the best coaches in college right now, as roommates and as teammates, friends, roommates, or whatever. They all were already more talented than I was. I was a person I was a project, and I developed. And shout out to Lawrence Johnson, Boogie Johnson, for all y'all who know who he is, and Quincy Foster, who was his teammate and roommate when there was that Blinn Junior College, and they both transferred over to Long Beach. They were the main ones who were singing my praises to a lot of these coaches. And then I just took it upon myself to do my own recruiting. I didn't rely on no coaches. I didn't rely on my coach. I just knew that if I did it and they called, he was going to put the good word in for me. So funny, I went back to New York and I found all the note cards that I wrote, all the schools that I was looking into from Division I to Division II. I wrote them down. I contacted a couple of people, and it came down, long story short, it came down between Tennessee and Iowa State. And I leave California. I'm in New York. It's over the winter break. And, just before I decide where I was going, I go on my visit to Tennessee. I went on my visit to Tennessee. I went to Middle Tennessee as well. I went on my visit to Middle Tennessee State. God bless Coach Hayes. And then I went to Iowa State. Iowa State was my last visit. I wasn't into doing all those crazy visits. Wasn't doing all that, So I get home, and my mother's in the living room. My mother looks at me and says, "Son, true story. I remember this like it was yesterday. Son, I know you want to go to that school in Tennessee." She wasn't a big sports person. It was the University of Tennessee. And I was talking to Vince Anderson at the time. And she was like, "But something about that guy in Iowa, my soul sits well with him." I said, "Say no more, I'm going to Iowa State." And that's how it happened. Vince calls me maybe an hour later. I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna go to Iowa State." And he was like, and at first, part of me was kind of like, I want to go to, because Tennessee's always been my dream school. I was like, "But hey, what do you want me to do?" He said, No. Vince told me, a man is a man by how he keeps his word and how he moves. Don't you break your commitment to that school. That's why I love Vince Anderson to this very day. He didn't have to do that, and he did that. And that's how I ended up at Iowa State. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, for a multitude of reasons, for cultural reasons. I grew up in New York City. Anybody knows, you could tell I'm from New York City, born and raised New York City, from the Bronx, South Bronx, uptown. Only people I grew up around was Caribbeans, Blacks, African Americans, and Puerto Ricans, Hispanics. I never had the positive privilege to be around other races that didn't look like me. So I didn't know how to communicate, or I didn't know how to blend in with them. And so I had to learn how to do that. And it's funny because Coach Glantz said the same thing as to why he went to Auburn. God rest his soul. I love that man to death. He said that's the reason why he chose Auburn, because he wasn't used to being around, white Americans, and I wasn't used to that either. And the reason, one of the selfish reasons why I went to Iowa State, and I'll say this, and I'm glad it's going to be in the atmosphere forever, because of Randy Thompson and Jason Woods. Those are the two. Those were my hosts on my visit. It wasn't Adrian Dunbar, who ended up becoming one of my best friends and my roommate in college. It wasn't Quinn Harris. You know, it was those two white American athletes who were superstar, talented athletes, and they're the reason why I went to Iowa State. I love those guys to death, regardless of what political views we may differ. They're my brothers. They're fine. I love them to death. I still respect them. Everything I do is not just for them, it's not just for myself, not just for Coach Lynn, but it's for the collective. So that's how I ended up at Iowa State, and I stayed there. Ran post collegiate because I was looking at my life. I always look at my life 10 years ahead, and I was doing social work for 3 years. And one day I'm in the office, I'm doing the paperwork on this kid, on this new case that I got. And I said to myself, man, I want to coach. And so Coach Lynn started me out from head, like where the grass start and the track begins, lining up the track, making sure the grass wasn't spilling over onto the track, make sure I had to clean the shed, make sure I had to do this. And every year he was giving me something different. He said, in order for you to become a great coach, you got to know how to do these things. And, you know, I am forever grateful to him. You know, I know I'm going to see him soon. No time soon yet, but I'll see you soon, Coach. But he's the reason why I got into coaching, and everything I do for him. He was my sounding board. He was everything to me, just like what Coach Glantz was to me is what Coach Lynn was to me. So, you know, he's the reason why I love the sport. And I never forget when he gave me my first coaching responsibility. He said, okay, we're 14th in the country. Put the 4x4 together and get us to nationals. I'm putting that on you. I said, oh, this is 2007. I said, oh, okay. So I'm sitting in, I'm playing the relay off of my head, and I put the team together. And I put all the quarter miles up front. I put the 60-meter sprint on the ankle leg, and he ends up splitting 46-1. He held on for dear life. Andretti Bain, everybody know who Andretti Bain is. He was the Bahamian champion in the 400 hurdles. He also was the NCAA champion in the 400 and the 400 hurdles. And I told him I ain't never seen somebody close down on somebody so fast, but we held them off, and we ended up running like the 5th fastest time in the country. We ended up going to NCs, and ended up making All-Americans. So it was a good experience, man. But everything that I learned from him. And I carry a lot of that stuff over to my coaching today.
So how did you end up with Coach Glantz?
Oh, so I'm at the University of New Mexico, and I had a quarter miler. You know, shout out to my kid Jaron Solomon. You know, one of the hardest working kids I've ever had the honor to work with. That kid would die before he suck at a workout. He was built different. We're at NC's in Fayetteville outdoor. This is 2009. Now, Victor Houston, who is now at Northern Colorado, I'm his daughter's godfather. But before we became that close, we was cool from the time I would go down to Texas El Paso to UTEP to go compete. So we just became cool. We just became boys. And, you know, I'm thinking, I just shot my shot. I was like, yo, Vic, you think Coach Glantz will let me come down to Alabama and learn under him and this and that? He said, man, go ask him. Now, mind you, I'm intimidated. This is Coach Glantz. You know what I'm saying? This is Harvey Glantz. I'm intimidated. And I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. And then Vic went up to Coach G. He said, hey, Coach G, man, my boy right here want to talk to you. Coach G looked at me. He said, what's up, baby? You know, Coach G, what's up, baby? Come here, man. I said, hey, Coach. He said, why are you nervous, man? I'm like, I got to try to get something out. I'm like, look, I kind of want to come down to Alabama so I can learn. And he said, stop right there. He said, be there in September. And he left it at that. He said, come on, I'll take care of you. Come on down. And let me tell you something. A lot of people don't understand why I'm a huge Alabama fan. If I was only able to tell y'all what Alabama did for me the 2 years I was there, I'm forever grateful. Forever grateful. It's bigger than just the football team and Coach Saban and Coach Glantz. What they did for me in a time of need, and what they did for me just for me giving up my sacrificing my time. I'm forever grateful to Alabama. Forever grateful. So that's how I ended up under Coach G. And I never get me and him was at practice one day. He looked at me. He said, "You know, son, I wish you would have came to me 2 years earlier." And I looked at him and said, "Why?" He said, "You have it, and you'll see soon enough that you have it. Just stay the course. Remember the lessons I taught you, and always be willing to evolve and get better as a man." He taught me the other side of this profession, and he told me not to suppress who I am as a guy. I was the only one outside of football who had access to Coach Saban. My personality was just it was just my personality, man. I had access to the football area. I was the only one that was allowed to lift and work out while football was in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because they knew I was harmless. You know, I'm just Lamont, you know, and it was good to be accepted and be looked at as a person who just want to give his all to the kids and to the program and to the school that's employing him. So that's how I ended up at the University of Alabama. That story right there.
Well, you've done a lot of coaching, and a lot of people in this profession don't get to stick at one institution. So we understand there's going to be a move here. So we're going to bypass a couple of moves, but we
Right.
got you got your opportunity. Well, I'm going to take you back to California. Now you're out there with Chuck at the Academy of Art, and y'all did some amazing things there, man. Let's talk about that growth and the experiences that you had there, and how did you help him develop the program to where it was on top?
Let me tell you something. I've never seen someone so cerebral as Charles Ryan. I've never seen someone who believed in his vision. And he was so convincing in his vision that we all just bought in, all of us bought in. And Charles does a lot of good for people, and a lot of people don't know that. I was in grad school. I was at Troy University. I was in the middle of my exercise science course, and I get a text message from, "Yo, dude, give me a call." So after exercise science course was over, you know how the master's program is. You probably take one class, and I'm in there, and he said, "Yo, man, listen, can you withdraw from those classes?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Listen, I just got the head coaching job at Academy of Art. I watched your grind. I need you to come out here with me." He said, "If you come out here with me, I got you. I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna make sure nothing happens to you." And he said it so convincingly that I was like, okay. And the other reason why I put my trust in him, when he left Louisiana Tech, this is before he and I even knew each other, he put my name in as a replacement for him at La Tech. And I'm like, yo, this guy really, okay, he's really a dope dude. And so, I'm sorry, I don't know why my computer does it when you put the thumbs up, all of a sudden the thumbs come up. My apologies. So let me keep my hands down. But he so years later he reached out to me like, "Let's come out there." Slept on his couch for a couple of months until I got my own place. And the first year was just us going on the world tour, like he dubbed it, because we wasn't eligible for the NCAA because we was a brand new athletic program. But the kids that we brought in, the kids that we retained, the vision that we had, and that once we got the word July 1st that we was going to be a fully functioning D2 school, it was all steam ahead. Like we was full steam ahead. We was going, and then the girls came in, and I never forget Vashti Thomas and Brianna Stewart. Shout out to my babies. I love them. My babies. I love them still. They told us what they were doing. They said, "We're not taking no for an answer." Vash came in and said, "I'm doing 6 events, indoor and outdoor." Bree came in and said, "I'm doing 5 events, indoor and outdoor." And everybody just started joining in. And then we found Kiki Moody, who was sitting out there in Lincoln, Nebraska, who literally saved the outdoor championship with this heroic leg that she ran on the 4x4 to run us back in contention, and we got one of the auto spots in the 4x4. You know, just watching the development and watching Chuck do the hurdles. Now, I give him all the credit for why I'm as good as a hurdle coach than I am, because I used to be scared of the event, and I have no qualms in saying that I used to be scared of the event. I was. A lot of spring coaches were scared of the hurdles, but I was one of them. I'm not any longer. And watching him do the hurdles, and he was teaching me the nuances of the hurdles. That's just the short hurdles, because I was good at the 400 hurdles, and watching him teach me this and what to look for and the touchdown times and what you got to fix and how you want your drills to be meticulous, and everything got to be the same because it's such a rhythm race. Everything technical wise has to be the same. You don't want to start changing up things, start doing things differently or whatever. If a girl's going too fast in the hurdles, here's what you got to do. If a girl's taking too long steps, here's what you got to do. Like, he taught me so many little nuances of the hurdles that he gave me the confidence to be a really good hurdle coach. Now, I'm not as good as him. I'm not as good as Coach Holloway, and those guys are all my mentors, but I'm slowly but surely climbing up that ladder, and I'm no longer scared of the event. So, you know, I was coaching the quarter milers, and according to the men, I was the de facto men's coach because I was always with the men. But I would do the fall training stuff. So I wrote up the fall training stuff. He did all the technical speed stuff and this and that. We worked as a collaborative group. So I run it by him. What you think about that? I like that, but change that. Okay, cool. Hey man, Lamont, what you doing today? I'm doing this and the third. Cut a couple of those reps, and yeah, let's do that. All right, cool. So we did everything as a collective. We did everything as a group. We did everything as a partnership. And one thing about he and I, you put he and I together on the same staff again, there's gonna be problems. You know, even though I'm happy where I'm at right now, I just know how he works. He knows how I work, and it just is what it is. Like, we work well together. And so when we won the indoor title, we were the second team, but the first female team to win a national championship in their first year of eligibility. But nobody has ever won 2 national titles in their first year of eligibility. You know, so what we did was historic, and what we did was so unique that I know for a fact that it would never be duplicated again. And we just had the perfect storm. We had the perfect right mixture of girls. He's the one who taught me, don't recruit specialists, recruit talented overall athletes. So Vash can long jump, triple jump, run the hurdles, run the 200, give me a 400 leg. Bree can run the 400 hurdles. Bree can run the 100-meter hurdles. Bree can run the open quarter. Bree can run the 200. Bree can triple jump. Bean could run anything from the 60 to the 400 hurdles. Kiki, who I still can't believe she PR'd 23 times in one season. 23 times. And then, oh, by the way, her sophomore year, she decides, oh, I want to run the hurdles this year. She makes All-American in the 400 hurdles. Never heard of a day in her life. She was just that talented. Jessica Raymond, she was the transfer from La Tech. She was the NCAA runner-up in the heptathlon, but she made the hurdle final. She made the 100 meters. She long jumped. We had so many talented athletes that it was so unique to see. And Jen, who we call the queen because she's the one who won indoors for us, our 1,500-meter runner, who nobody knew we had, and she ended up getting third at the meet, which put us over the top. You know, we have so many different athletes. Like, Jen can run anything from the 800 to the 10K. I've never seen a distance run with that kind of range and quality range. She can run 209. She can run this in the mile. She can run this in the 3K. She can run this in the 5. She can run this in the 10. She was just a unique individual, you know. So he taught me recruit athletes that could do multiple events and you can get the most out of them. So when we got those athletes and all those athletes were able to do different things, we knew we were going to be unbeatable. So shout out to Charles Ryan, who put that together. It was his brainchild. All we did was finish the mission. I never forget when we won that title, he hugged me. He was crying. I ain't never seen him cry before. He said, I told you I got you. I told you I got you. Like, I went to the back. I was boo-hooing too, but I ain't want nobody to see me. You know, I'm from New York. I can't let nobody see, tough New Yorker crying. But no, but it was a good moment. It was a good experience, man, and I'm forever grateful for that, man.
See, this is where it comes down to that making of champions. You came into a situation, brand new situation, and y'all first year going at it, national champions, two-time and national champions, and then you left them there. Then you have a unique, somewhat like mine, but on a different pathway. You've been D2, you've been, you won that championship. I haven't done it yet, but D2, you went to the HBCU, you've been at the Power Five, you've been at the other majors, so you get into the HBCU realm. I know you were at Virginia State, but I want to talk about your movement going in to be the director of track and field cross country at Johnson C. Smith. Now you got your opportunity to head it up and make things work. How was that transition because I know where Johnson C. Smith was and where they were going, and then the drawback. But then when that special coach leaves Johnson C. Smith, they it's a transition.
Let me go and say it for you. You never want to be the man to replace the man. And here's the accountability segment of this show. Did I handle everything right my first year there? Absolutely not. I was overzealous. I was the bad cop more than I had to be, more than the good cop. I made a couple of mistakes when it came down to the relationships with dealing with the athletes and stuff like that. And that was on me. But you learn from that. And going into the second year, I had to get better. I had to get better at that. But I was still learning on the fly. I now know what I will not tolerate. And I'm not talking about the kids. And I'm not trying to belittle my previous employer. I'm not doing that by no stretch of the imagination. I'm not doing that. But you go through life lessons to learn and to improve. And to also understand who you are as a coach, who you are as a human being, who you are as just at whatever genre of work you do. I now have a better understanding of what I need to be successful as a head coach if I ever decide to dip my foot back into the head coaching spectrum. I now know what I will not tolerate. So that time there at Johnson C. Smith was a great lesson. I got a lot of kids who still love me to this day. One of the best messages I got from those kids was when I was transitioning out. A bunch of the kids came to the office and said, "Coach, we watched you change from when you first got here to now. And we want to tell you thank you because you actually listened to us." And that meant a lot. I was able to deal with certain things a whole lot better after I heard that from them. So being a first-time head coach, I would tell everybody, and you can relate to this because you was a head coach as well, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. You have to lean on your mentors. You gotta lean on your mentors. You gotta know how to be diplomatic, something that I had to learn the hard way. You have to learn how to fight certain fights and just let certain fights just go to the wayside. You have to know how to be diplomatic. You have to know how to be PC. Like as an assistant coach, you ain't really got to be PC all the time. But as a head coach or director of track and field, you got to be PC. You got to know how to play the game. My mother always said, you got to kiss butt before you kick it, and that was so true. As my tenure as a head coach, I've learned a lot about myself as a man and as a coach. Where now I can take those lessons, I can give those lessons to other people that's making that transition to become the head coach, and I could also make that transition in being a better head coach if that opportunity ever presents itself again. So I will say that being a head coach has made me an absolute better assistant coach as well, because you and I both know what the head coach is probably thinking, and we're like, we may not want to do that because an assistant, when you've never been a head coach, oh man, he don't know what he's doing. Oh, she don't know what she's doing. You're not in those rooms. You're not in those rooms to have those conversations with admins. And the thing is, they think head coaches just don't want to do anything for the team. That's not true. There's somebody up there telling us yes or no. So being a head coach and having that opportunity, and going in there and trying to replace the great, and I have to call him the great. I know he's gonna hate it. The great Leonard Graham. It was hard, and I will be glad. I'll sit here humbled in my own presence and say that I was humbled, but I needed that. And that's made me a better assistant coach. It's gonna make me even better head coach if I decide to go back to being a head coach. Being an assistant coach is fun. You ain't got the stress. Assistant coach is fun, man. But I'm definitely humbled by it, and I appreciate what I had to go through. So now I have to become a better version of myself now, and I do move to a higher status, whether it's director or just head coach. I'm gonna be a better coach, and I also understand, you're gonna have to hire the best people that fits what you need in order for the program to be successful. That's important. So a lot of life lessons I've learned, a lot of career lessons I've learned, and like I said, the 4 years there, I've had an All-American every year. I had somebody go to Nationals every year. The last year there, I had 9 guys at the NCAA championships. And so I did what I was supposed to do, Could have ended on better terms, absolutely. I'm not gonna delve into that. You already know the story. But we live and we learn, and we're gonna get better, and we're gonna grow from that. So
well, we're gonna skip and go to where you are now. You're at Georgia State University, always program there, man. And you got there, and Coach KY, Kyle's brought you in, and he knew what you can do and add to the dimension. And you're already making successful pathways with those young ladies and moving records and I see you on social media. I see the young ladies posting things and everything. You can see the excitement that's there, and knowing the prowess of how you go about your work and your enthusiasm for it, and to attention to detail, and you see that those young ladies are really grasping into that and moving in the direction, could be in some people's minds could be quicker than they thought, but yet you set the pathway of what you wanted to do within the foundations of what Coach Stevenson wants to get done there, and y'all moving, man.
We trying, man. Listen, let's give Coach Kyle Stevenson a lot of credit. If you only knew the barriers that he had to face these last couple of years, and now he can finally get it back to where it once was back in 2019, you would write a book. Like it's book worthy. I say it all the time, and I said it just recently. He bought the groceries. All I did was cook it up because these young ladies were here when I got here. For him to trust me, and for him to pick up the phone and say, "Yo, Lamont, I need you down here." And for his fiance, one day when I first got here, she was like, "He can't do this without you. He needs you here, bro." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah," because he needs to be able to rest easy. And my goal is to make sure that anybody who I work for, whether it was for Katrina Brumfield at Oakland University or Cal down here at Georgia State, my job is to make sure that they don't have any worries. They can go to sleep and be at peace, knowing that we're handling business on every end, whether it's the paperwork stuff or the recruiting or just the training aspect of just the everyday thing that you got to deal with when it comes down to the everyday level of student athlete. My job is to make sure that he doesn't have to worry, and we've been doing that. And so now, moving forward, the young ladies when I got here, I wanted to watch them move. I'm a person who watch movement, and Coach Cal has a great, that 8 hour period that we all hate, but we got to deal with it. I watched Coach Cal do his thing with them, so I just wanted to sit back because I had to learn them. And then I figured out what worked for them. It took me time, but I figured out what's working for everybody, and we put it together. And now, we're having success. The first sign of success was when our quarter miler, Kanaya Walker, when she went from running like 42 seconds in the 300 to 38.6 300 in a time trial. And I'm looking around like, uh-oh. And then all of a sudden, it started brewing. Everyone started catching fire. And so we had a second time trial. And then Blake Blakemore, whose mother is a Tennessee great, she ends up running like 38.5 in our time trial. But the one that kind of took me over the top was Kaylee Williams. She ran 39.6, but she couldn't run faster than 43 seconds in the 300 before. So now we're starting to move. And I'm starting to see things. I got three young girls. I was running 17.3 in the 150. This is early November. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking at Kyle. I'm like, yo, I think you might got something. So Kyle's getting excited now. His excitement is going. His excitement is bubbling. We get to the meet. Let me go back. He had made a deal with me. He said, dude, if you can get Kaylee Williams to run under 9 seconds on the hurdles, you are damn good. The girl just last week at Harvard, she just ran 8:45. She's PR like 5 times this year. But it was just the attention to detail. And when they started seeing the success, now it's easy for me to say, hey, we're doing this today. And there's no, there's none of that, because now they see the fruits of their labor. They seeing what the hard work is going to do. But with the good part comes the bad part, because if one kid isn't running fast, they start to compare themselves to everybody else that's making these super leaps. Now I got to put out that fight like, baby, you're a developmental athlete. Let me develop you. It's going to take you another year just to get you where you are. But trust me, you're going to be fine. So just doing what we doing, man. Look, I told some of the Sunbelt coaches at the convention, I said, I'm here. I said, y'all gonna have a problem on your hands. I told them that. I told 2 of them that. They was like, and they looked at me, they was like, oh, he's not playing. Oh no, I'm dead serious. Because my job is to make sure that Kyle's gonna be okay. I'm not coaching for myself anymore. I'm coaching for him. Now he hates it when I say that, but I am. I'm coaching for him. I gotta protect my head coach. So I want to make sure I put my head coach in a position to where when he goes into the administration, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. They can't tell him no anymore. Because now all the chips on his side of the table. So that's what I'm doing. It's no longer about me. I got my accolades. I got everything I want. It's about me making sure that my head coach is always going to be okay and going to be sound, and making sure that we're competitive on every level. And that's my goal. And even though he tells me, look, Lamont, I'm going to be all right, I don't move like that, because you gave me an opportunity. One thing about me, when somebody gives me an opportunity, it don't matter if it worked out or did it. I'm forever going to be grateful. I'm ever going to be doing what I need to do to make sure that you're good. So, just being able to see the smile on his face after meets. He's like, yo, how did this girl go from 25.54 to 24.36? I'm like, I give him no choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's on the other side. He's over there by the long jump pit. I'm over there on the other side. He sees what I'm doing. And he knows everything I'm doing, because he knows every workout. And I even bounce things over him. Hey, what works good for this girl? Hey, what works good for her? And then I have to take that information, and then I have to utilize that, and that's how I get the best out of them. I coach the athlete, not the event. And so I take what he gives me. I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. gonna do this, boom, boom, boom. And the rest so far is becoming history. So, we still got another indoor meet to go. Hopefully we can sneak one or two person into NCs, but it was a wait and see. Things is kind of the hurdles, number 16 is like 819. So, things is looking kind of normal again. Last year was like 807. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna see we're gonna see how these next couple of weeks played out going into the Sun Belt Championships, and we go from there, man.
I'm sure he's full of joy that you're there with him to help him move the ship forward. The boat was there. Just got to make sure the sails are ready to go. And sometimes you have to have that complimentary person to come in to add the more value to what you're doing, and someone who sees what you're trying to do and trying to accomplish. And y'all work together to move the ship forward and go on and make sure that you get the people that are not on board or on task for what the vision is. You got to to the side. It's like, okay, we can't have any of this. But I've seeing you at conventions, seeing you out there and things, just talking to you, having great conversations, just listening. I know your heart. I know your spirit, where it is. And hey, nothing but positive things that are surrounding you. Even when you have down moments, you still vibrate positive attitude throughout the situations. And man, you are a blessing, man. You're a blessing to this community, to this craft of track and field, and then to people. And could you affect people's lives? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize of where they're talking about coaches. You're coaching them in the events, but yet you're coaching them on getting them prepared for life after. And that's something that I know that you stand for on all aspects of, is preparing the people to come up in your presence to be better when they come in and leaving out.
Right. And just I gotta go back to the girls that I currently have right now. Watching the smiles on their faces. This is what we're in it for. We damn sure ain't in it for the money. We've been going a long time ago. But I hope hopefully that'll change. But watching them get upset when they don't run faster, when before they just want to get out of the meet. Watching them fulfill, especially the seniors, man. Like, out of all the spring girls I got on my side of the team that Coach Kyle's allowed me to work with, only one of them has made a conference final. One. We are on the verge of doing something spectacular at the Sun Belt meet. And now they're training with confidence. They told me one day we was at massage therapy, and I asked them, I said, hey, how did y'all feel about going to the championship meet last year? And they was like, Coach, man, we couldn't wait to leave. We wasn't even locked in. We was over it. Like, the year was just we were just over it. Like, we didn't even care. I said, really? They're like, yeah. I said, how y'all feel this year? They was like, Coach, we have never been so excited. We've never been so excited. Like, and I was joking with them. I said, hey, man, what if I left? They all looked at me like the jokes went to seriousness. One of the girls even started crying a little bit. They was like, you're not leaving us. You're not leaving us. I said, you do know my fiance is in California, right? They're like, listen, if we got to get on the phone with her. We got to negotiate something. And one was like, look, if we can keep you for another year, that's cool. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Now, unless something big happened in California, that's a whole nother story. But because obviously my family is gonna come before anything else, and my family is, woman that you interviewed. I saw her video, great video by the way, perfect video. Shameless plug. But even my significant other, who is national championship coach now, she was like, look, I have no problem with you being out there another year. I watch how those girls talk to you. I watch how they respond to you. And you deserve to finish this thing out. So when I told him that I'm going to be here, we're fine. It's like you saw the breath that's come back into them, and it was like, Coach, we ain't never had a coach that really did for us what you did for us, uh, like an assistant coach, whatever. And it made me feel good, But I credit a lot of that. I credit the way how I am with them and I know we skipped over it, but I have to give this person a special shout out. I have to give a shout out to Katrina Brumfield, because when no one wanted to touch me, she gave me an opportunity. And she gave me a chance to right whatever wrong that was out there, whatever people assumed. It's funny how people swear they know the play, but they're not in the huddle. She gave me an opportunity, and for us to get second and third indoors, third and third outdoors, with a team that wasn't even supposed to even finish in the top six, and knowing that she allowed me to play a significant role in that, and her genius and her brilliance, and how she is so meticulous, and how she is so damn good of a jumps coach, man. Like I took some of the stuff that she did, and I took it. And one day we was in practice. She was like, "Hey, you ever thought about doing this?" I looked at it. I looked at her jump. I said, "You know what? That sounds like a good idea." And then I did it. And then the kids started responding to it. I looked at her. I said, "She said we looked at each other just like that." I'm like, "But that's how we worked." And shout out to Katrina, man. That's not only was she my former boss, but she's a sister to me now, and I will do anything for her, and she knows where she stands with me, man. Love you, Coach K. Um, but I pour my all into this sport, man. I think you know that.
Yeah.
And I tell the kids this all the time. You give me everything you got, I'm gonna give you my soul. I'm gonna give you everything I got. I'm gonna give you everything I got. And the funny thing is, I'm hard on myself because I feel like if everyone's not successful, I feel like I failed. So I could have 13 girls, but out of the 13, 11 of them are running well, but the other two aren't. To me, that's a failure. For me, that's a failure. To me, I got to step up. I got to do better. And a lot of people won't argue with that. Like, yo, dude, you can't bat 1,000 with everybody. I want everybody to be successful because I want them to be in the huddle together, hugging each other, crying, and I could just sit back and I could just watch them and say, you know what, I did what I was supposed to do. I made them enjoy. I made them go from liking what they're doing to loving what they're a part of and loving what they're doing. And that's always going to be my goal moving forward.
Wow. Actually, a two-part question here.
Gotcha.
First part of it is, what was the greatest advice that someone ever gave you when it came down to the coaching realm, whether it could be just about how to manage stuff or anything like that, or the coaching aspect? And then what is something you can give to the audience about how to manage through difficulties?
All right, first question. The best advice I was given was from Coach G, Coach Harvey Glantz. Son, understand the room that you're walking into and let them adjust to you. Mm-hmm. You've been around Coach Glantz. You know how when he walks into a room, he commands the room without even trying.
Yeah.
That was the best advice he gave me. That was one of the best. He gave me a lot of advice, but that's the one that stuck out the most. The other question was, what can I give younger coaches?
Yeah, younger coach to understand and take them out of something that that people make mistakes on, so they don't have to experience it firsthand.
Got you. You're the assistant coach for a reason. Stay in your role. Stay in your role. It's the safest place to be. Once you step out of that box and you think you can do the head coach's job, or you're always going to question what the head coach does, you are now lighting the wick to the dynamite that's going to blow your career up. Stay in your box. and be the absolute best assistant coach you could possibly be. If you got to vent to somebody who is non-affiliated. Don't be venting to no. You can if you want to vent to a coach, you got to find the safe space coaches. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of them. I'm a safe space coach. You know, you can come to me like there's so many times my phone don't ring and I didn't say nothing. I just sat there and let them vent, and it never left that conversation. Um, other piece of advice, especially to male coaches, the merchandise is off limits. I don't need to go into detail. You know what I'm talking about. The female coaches, and I'm glad I could say this, and if someone gets mad, then oh well, it is what it is. You belong. You don't have to convince us that you belong. You belong. Okay. There's enough testosterone running around this coaching staff right now. We don't need to. We need you to balance us out. You belong. Don't ever feel that you don't belong. For the up and coming coaches that are going from either grad positions, volunteer to an assistant position, understand something. If you in this for the money, get out of the sport right now. You have to build your way up to get those type of jobs. It's hand now. There are the outliers that get out fresh out of college and all of a sudden they got $100,000 job. That's the outlier. That don't happen often. Don't be fooled. Okay, that's an outlier. But use that opportunity to build your stuff up, because when you get that kind of job, sometimes those coaches will allow you to make your coaching mistakes, meaning that, okay, if you're not 100% with your training thing, okay, you can figure that out. It gives you time to get better and better and better. Then once you find your niche, then you'll take off. Okay. And so that's my advice to the young and up and coming coaches that going from a volunteer or a GA that's going into being that want to be a full-time coach. You know, just make sure you do that. There's a whole bunch of other things, but we'll be here all night. So those are the key things that I lock in on.
This is the segment of the show where I give your shout outs. Man, you got a lot of people that have poured into you and you've poured into, I don't think people don't realize how much it is to be a mentor, and you can be a mentor and not be elevated into a certain role, but you still be a mentor. So this is your opportunity to give the shout outs, give the roses to those who, I mean, you do it on your show, but it's what you do on mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Go down the list. My high school coach, Bill Wagner, from DeWitt Clinton High School in the Bronx in New York City. My junior college coach, Ron Ellis, who he was my coach for a week before he took the USC job. Ron Ellis, Jim Richardson, Coach Washington, God bless his soul, he passed away this summer. Coach Ripley, who was part of that famed San Jose State Speed City team back in the '60s, who was also the world record holder in the pole vault. He was the women's head coach. He was a mentor of mine as well. Going to Iowa State, Coach Dan O'Mara, who's still the throws coach there, who had no problem telling me how it was, and I love you for that. Thank you for being straightforward with me and calling me out at Florida relays when I got tore up on that backstretch by John Capel. Thank you. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I can appreciate that. To my late coach Steve Lynn, without you, I wouldn't be in this position right now. To Scott Roberts, who taught me how to put together match velocity work and taught me the dynamics of speed and all this other stuff. Like, he's one of the better coaches that a lot of people don't really speak on, but he's really good at what he does. I got to give a shout out to Charles Ryan, Tori Olson, Lawrence Smith, who was the coaches at Academy of Art when we were when we was all there. I got to give a shout out to Joe Franklin, who brought me on to the University of New Mexico. To Leo Settle, who was my teammate in college, who's my brother. Like, we've been boys to this day. He's at SMU. Mario Wilson, who is the jumps and multis coach at the University of Virginia. We were roommates at the University of New Mexico. I learned a lot of stuff from him too. He's one of the better human beings. He's one of the best coaches in the country. Alabama, obviously, Joe Walker Jr., Victor Houston, the late Harvey Glantz, Coach Miss Kim, God rest your soul too. We miss you and love you too, Coach Miss Kim. Then I gotta say Jill Lancaster, who paid for my master's program at Troy University. I already spoke about Academy of Art. Sue Parks at Eastern Michigan. Let me tell you something about that woman. That woman is not afraid to think outside the box and hire people who you've never heard of, and she's been successful that way. And I love that about her. She may have her ways, and everybody do, and that's perfectly fine. She's well within her rights to have her ways. But that woman taught me how to win at all costs. That woman taught me how to not make excuses for anything that's been put in front of you. So shout out to Sue Parks and that entire coaching staff that's up there now. To Jason Lamont Jackson, to Samela Karoma, to Rob Davis, to Tony Morton, to all of us that was at Virginia State, to Linda Bell, Dr. Linda Bell, who hired me at Wisconsin Parkside, who called me at 1:00 in the morning and said, "Hey man, I need a black coach up here. You ready?" I'm like, "It's 1:00 in the morning." I said, "Shit, I don't care." Linda Bell, she's now the director of athletics at Dillard down in New Orleans. To Natasha Wilson, she's the woman who gave me my first head coaching job at Johnson C. Smith. Thank you, Natasha Wilson. I'll be forever grateful to you. To Kenny Anderson, to Patrick Hackroth, to all the assistant coaches that I had, especially Kenny Anderson, man, listen, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I did up there without him. Kenny, you my boy, love you to death, man. And then to Oakland University, to Davion Sutton, who was shadowing me, and I mentored him in the hurdles and things like that nature. But I want to make sure he got all the credit, regardless of what I did behind the scenes. I want to put him out front. He did an absolute great job, regardless of what my responsibility was. He did a great job, and give him the credit for those hurdlers. Just give it to him. I don't want it. I want his resume to shine. It's perfectly fine. To Katrina Brumfield, I already spoke on her, how much I love and respect her. And to Kyle Stevenson down here at Georgia State. And last but not least, my significant other, Amber Williams, who is national champion cross country coach in Division III. Shout out to her, man. She's been through a lot, and I'm glad that I've been able to troop this last 9 years with you, baby. Love you. More great things is coming. So, and to all of y'all, man, to you, Tyree, you and I, we check up on each other just to say what's up, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that you do that just to make sure that people's good. We got to give you your flowers, man. To say, that's the type of human being that we need more of in this world. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the other coaches from Marissa Chu, who saved a lot of lives during that pandemic. Yeah. And now she need our love and our support. You know what I'm saying? We know she's doing well as of right now, but she needs our love and our support. And we love you, Chu. And I know you're gonna see this. You are the shining star. When it was the most darkest, you was the only shining star that helped pull a lot of coaches out of a rut and got us back into a rhythm. And we're forever grateful to you and everything that you've done. There's so many other people, man. So many other people, but y'all know who y'all are. To all the kids that I've worked with, love y'all to death. To all the kids that I've coached or whatever, love y'all to death, man. Y'all the best, man. I wouldn't be here without y'all. And at the Academy of Art women's team, you are the catalyst to my career taking off. Without y'all, there is no me. So special shout out to the young ladies at Academy of Art, that 2011 through 2013 team.
Hey man, this community of track and field, cross country, track and field is great. But I think, and I'm glad you said the part about your athletes and everything, understanding, yeah, there's some great coaches, but, in order to be a great coach, you had to have great athletes. Those athletes, they build your resume up to be what they are, to be the person that you are to this day. So that was a great testament to who you are, giving the proper credit to those people who help build you up, and then also that community around you to do what you want to do. So again, this is another episode of the Making of Champions, season 5. Coach Lamont Johnson, who's over there at Georgia State, doing it up. Going to be there for another year. We already said it, you know. But want to thank you for being a part of the show, man. It's a blessing. I wanted everybody to hear your story and also see what you're doing and how you've helped build championship programs, help build championship people, and then showing that you are a championship caliber person throughout life in itself. So want every one of y'all to go out there, like, subscribe, and share to others. Have a great day. Peace.
Appreciate y'all.